Can you see this child absolutely harassing me? Absolute, just headbutting me. There's assault going on. He's just so rude. He's so rude. This is a cruel and unusual punishment, sir. Do you not understand the crimes you're committing against me? God, why is the music so loud? Maybe, oh, see, he's coming. You have your chair. Daniel, Chip, you have your chair. Chip, you have your chair. Go sit in your chair. He might just be popping in and out of the video today. This might be what we're going through today. He might try and crawl into my lap in half of a fucking second. We'll see how it goes. His chair is turning now because you're not supposed to do that in a chair. he's cute. Hi, salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Sekium Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and hello. We are finally getting around to quarter updates. I honestly haven't even really read too much since quarter one. We're not going to talk about that. That's why we do quarterly instead of monthly updates. I do also, and we might get to it. I will not have time this week. Maybe I'll have time next week. Who knows? I wouldn't mind doing another TBR stream. I just haven't really had a ton of time for reading, and so I don't know if a TBR is even super realistic right now. But also, before we get into all of the books that I read in like 6 months, which is not a lot, let's talk about books. More my books. I do books. I write books. Those are my books. We've got those are my books. Those are my books. We've got the Queen of Thieves book 1. That is my YA spy series. And then we've got Imani and Aaliyah's fashion Bible. That is my new adult autistic cheerleader romance. We both books are available. Link is down below, or at least it should be if I was a responsible adult. The link is down below. You can get them, you can purchase both of them. You can also get them both for free on Itchio. And there you literally can just download the books there. The plan has been for a while to get all of the Queen of Thieves up in there, and going forward I'm going to be putting all of my books on there. Working on it. We are working on it. Fingers crossed to get all books up there by the end of the year. Part of the problem is that I am currently also going through and readjusting my books in the new writing program that I have right now, and so that's part of the problem and part of why it's taking so long. But yeah, we are slowly chugging along, getting those books reformatted and getting them up on Itchio. But again, you can purchase them, you can donate, you can tip there, you can also pick them up for free. You're more than welcome. Links for those are down below. You will also find links to the spreadsheet that has GoFundMes and fundraisers for people in all of the crisis zones around the world, because there are so many. So you've got Haiti, you've got Sudan, Congo, and it also has links to the Olive Branch Project, I believe is what it's called, which was the same thing, a spreadsheet of Palestine GoFundMes and fundraisers. That is linked down below. Alongside that is because I found out earlier in the year that Canva, graphic design program I'd been using for a while, is a Zionist program, and Zionists ruined everything. We fucking hate it. So we have some links down below to alternatives for people to use. I plan on keeping those links down there so long as I am still transitioning out of Canva. I am getting better at it. The graphics that, not for the thumbnail, but the graphics that I use for the actual like presentation that we're about to get into, those I was able to make in Inkscape, which is linked down below. I have Sozi, which is the program that actually made the presentation, the movements and whatnot. And then there's also Snappa, which is linked down below, and that is basically just a Canva clone for those who are not particularly interested in having a full-blown graphic design program. Again, all of these things linked down below, but without further a fucking do, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Haha. So this is, and this was like one of the main things I wanted about like something that can present in this way, is because I wanted to be able to show both my wrap-ups and just like have all of my wrap-ups on essentially one graphic to look at. And I'm not gonna go through the like first quarter wrap-up because we don't need to, we've done that, but it's just nice to see all of the things and going forward. So this is just a zoomed in version of the quarterly. I love the colors that I did, but I won't drag on about that. Let's first look at the fiction books that I read in the 2 quarters. Of note, these little library cards that we have there, those are going to mark books that were actually on my TBR. You basically already saw, but when we get down to like looking at the 2 challenges that I had, we will see there what like percent of the books that I've been reading were for my TBR. These fiction. So we have a DNF. When it comes to erotica, I am so particular about euphemisms that people use, and I hated the ones in this book, so we DNF'd, and I did not feel like even bothering to find an image of the fucking book to share here. I was not a fan. We read The Labyrinth Beckons, which is the 4th book in not the Queen of Thieves series, in the Catastrophe Incoming series by Aimee Donnellan. That is the most recent full stream that I did. I really enjoyed it. The writing of Aimee's is phenomenal, and I've so much Aimee Donnellan on this here actually, because An Evening Letter and Destiny and Destination I added on here because I just wanted to like throw them onto my reading list, but they are like these short like snippets, like they almost feel like an end credit scene but literature. It's just like small scenes that came when you pre-ordered the first book, and I finally got around to reading them, and I didn't rate them because again they just kind of felt like short scenes to add on to the reading experience, more of a lore thing than stories. So I didn't really give them a rating, but I read those. I have 2 books that I will not be mentioning because again, Zionist ruined everything. I also think one of these was, I had started reading the book and it turns out the fucking author uses AI audiobooks, which is so fucking ironic because they had a whole fucking spiel at the beginning of the book about how you're not even allowed to lend someone a copy of this book because that's stealing. Ugh, gross. And then we also have, I beta read A Crimson Covenant by Aimee Donnellan, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I pre-ordered the book and I can't wait for this book. I can't wait for the other books in the series. It was so well done. And I am I'm so incredibly excited for the book. This is going to be the official cover, and you should pre-order the book. You should pre-order the book. You should. The link for that is also down below to pre-order this book, as well as if you pre-order it, there's some pre-order rewards of, you get the first 4 chapters of the book. When like the link below has both the pre-order, it's her full like link tree thing, and so it has the pre-order as well as if the submitting your proof of pre-order to get the pre-order rewards, and you'll get the first 4 chapters of the book right away, and you'll also get this erotica Valentine's collection around Valentine's Day. which is also I'm also like excited to read. Very just get the book, get the book, get the book. Moving on, not that one. I want to close this one. Finally read Babel. Absolutely fucking amazing. And not only was it just phenomenal writing, it was phenomenal storytelling. I feel like I'm glad I picked it up at the time that I did, because it was a very core moment for my decolonization journey kind of thing. And so I picked it up at a good time. Loved the story, loved the storytelling. I also really appreciated, as someone who myself grew up around white people, and just being able to like read a story that really dives into that kind of experience a bit. Uh, like what can I possibly say more about Babel? It was just so good. I can't wait to read more R.F. Kuang. I do I have the third one? I don't know if I have the third one, but I like am on deck to read pretty much all of R.F. Kuang's work. I would love to do. I don't know what I want to do first. I don't know if I want to read Yellowface first to see more of a realistic take on like race and all of those types of topics, or if I want to start. I do know, I've been told, or I haven't, like, not personally, but like I've seen recommendations that you should read The Rape of Nanking first, so before starting the Poppy War series. So I might check. So like that's probably going to push Poppy War behind some of our Kwong's other works, but it is, yeah, Babel was a phenomenal read. And again, I can't say it enough. Spoiler alert if you haven't read Babel yet. I'll put my hand down when I'm done with the spoiler. But spoiler alert, I still wholeheartedly think one of my favorite and probably one of the most radical things of Babel, of the entire fucking book, was allowing Victoire to live. Because I said this in my full review. I've done a full review of the full 5 pictured novels here, but like allowing Victoire to live was genuinely probably the most radical thing Arfon could have done with this book, because of how much of the world and how much of life was built on the bodies of Black women. So allowing her to live and allowing like a moment to express how much strength it takes to keep living through that character. Ugh, I fucking needed that. Oh my god, 10 out of 10. Stole my heart. Cannot wait to read more. Okay, that's all. Let's go ahead and move on to No One's Gonna Take Her Soul Away. I haven't really done a summary of the books thus far, mostly because I just did a summary of The Labyrinth Beckons and A Crimson Covenant. I kind of want to hold off on giving too much away. I'll give a basic idea of A Crimson Covenant. Is that the two girls live in a town that's full of vampires, humans, and werewolves coexisting, and bigots come to try and kill them, and the two girls get away and now have to try and find a way to save their families. And so that's that story, and it's, again, really well done. No One's Gonna Take Her Soul Away. The story here is that you have our girl Sapphira, who is our main character. She is in a horribly abusive relationship, and her boyfriend kills her in a deal with a demon, and gives her soul away in exchange for him being famous, a famous singer, a famous musician. So she gets sent down to the story's version of hell, Pandemonia. Not sure if that is a part of any actual mythology, religion, anything like that. Spirituality. I'm not sure if it is like an actual like if this is actual mythology here or if this was made for the book. I'm not sure, can't tell you. But she's sent down to Pandemonia, which is essentially hell. It's got the seven islands, and she is sent to the very furthest down one, which is the one for murderers, the worst island. And she wants to try and find her way back because she doesn't deserve to be there. And she creates a ragtag group along the way. I think a lot of the vibes of the book were fantastic. Like the vibes were amazing, aside from like one thing that does still grind my gears here. Uh like you get a lot of the like gross gore, anxiety, like anticipation. You get a lot of those things with the energy of the book. You understand that she is in a horrible place and is struggling to survive. One of the only like vibe issues I have, I guess is how we'll call it. There's a point in the book where the book is split into parts, and one of the parts is called Le Fric, which I feel like is fair to think that it is going to be sexual for because of like typically the seven islands are the seven sins and one of them is lust. It doesn't need to be, but it needed to have, but like it needed to have something to do with the term freak in some way. You know what I mean? Like you can use Le Freak as in like gross mind fuck, that's kind of thing. We didn't do that. We simply didn't do that because I think the closest thing was there was a character who ate an eye at one point, but she did it once and then nothing, literally nothing after that was freaky at all, which was it was like that was disappointing. I think the characters felt very much like a great example of telling, not showing. Like we were told at the end of this book, these two characters who have done nothing but emotionally support each other. Like dude's holding her while she's crying and like helping her process trauma, and they're just like he's taking care of her like a lost bird, and she is just there like leaning on him whenever she needs support. And then at the end of the book, they're like, "Oh, I know you guys have been wanting to hate fuck. Where's the hate? Where was the hate? The hate was not in the room. The hate was not in the room." Um, there was the one of the characters is Astrophel, who is the daughter of the demon lord, and the story is supposed to be this huge back and forth of, oh, is she going to she's sent to try and trick Sapphira and her gang into trusting her and then actually turn them in, but she immediately falls in love with Sapphira and does literally nothing but help them to escape the entire time, even so far as like the closest thing to sus that she ever does is she tells him she's going to go on a watch, and instead of going on watch, she goes, hunts down the demon that did the deal that got Sapphira into the whole mess, killed him, and then demanded that Sapphira be let free. What a betrayal. and the book keeps telling us, oh, we have no idea if she's going to betray us or not, and then at the end they keep saying she betrayed you, how like, and Sapphira's like, oh, like how am I ever supposed to be better than the woman that let my ex get me into this situation in the first place? How am I supposed to think that I've done better if I let this woman like manipulate me and trick me? She didn't manipulate or trick you. She 100% did all of these things extremely earnestly, and then her father just showed up and kidnapped you. She was in no way, shape, or form, like no part of the story was she ever going to betray you. Not one, not a single one. So I did not think that the character work was my favorite, and the book was so incredibly redundant. Like there was, when we first get down to hell, the word red, like the color red, is used like 40 times in that one chapter to describe everything, and it was not good. I did not like it at all. But again, the vibes were great. I I would be willing to give this author another try, but I also just I yeah, it's not, I'm not jumping at a chance to read more from this author, if that makes sense. Just some of the writing things, especially like the character stuff, was just not for me at all. And then the last fiction we are going to talk about is The Scourge Between the Stars. This is a book about these colonies of humans that have been traveling from they left Earth because Earth became uninhabitable, and they went to another, their, like, I don't know if it's their ancestors, grandparents, parents, some amount of humans in this line, in this lineage of the colonizing like ship fleet, landed on another planet, but then they left that planet. And now our main character is it, like, we don't have fuel. We're almost out of fuel. We're stuck in the middle of like this area in which they keep getting hit with barrages of like just force that is heavily damaging their ships, and that alongside like slowly running out of fuel, they just struggling to make decisions on how best to try and proceed. Do we go back to the planet we were just on? Do we just keep going in the direction of trying to get to Earth? It both seem extremely unlikely to like succeed, but which has a slightly better, like marginally better chance of survival. And you know, aliens on board. So we find out there's aliens on board and people are dying, so fuck. Yeah. That's basically it. That's the gist of the book. It was amazing. It, like, genuinely, my breath was stolen so many times. I couldn't breathe. I was in it. Granted, I'm not particularly well used to horror. I'm not like deep in horror books. I haven't read a ton of horror, but this absolutely made me want to read a lot more. Nonfiction. I actually read this Bernie Mac memoir in the first quarter, and I'm ashamed to say that I forgot to add it in there, but it's a Bernie Mac memoir talking about his rise and life and how he got to his career in comedy, which it was absolutely amazing. I listened to the audiobook and my heart, we miss him. But yeah, absolutely phenomenal. We loved it. Then I also read this compilation of African American poetry. I want to say it was like a range of dates. Actually, it's on this phone, so let me see if I can find what range of dates this poetry collection was for. 1773 to 1927. And I liked it. There are definitely some poets that I honestly don't know if there'll ever be a compilation, anthology, anything like that I would rate more than 4 stars, because you like some, you don't like others. But yeah, there are definitely some things on there that I would really like to read more. Some poets on there I'd like to read more from. We have some graphic novels. I probably won't go too into the graphic novels. One we will not mention, Zionists Ruin Everything. Then we also have the Netsozu Trap, which is essentially like these two friends who I don't even think I read just like one of them. I read a full series. That's why it's like hard to describe this, like the graphic novel, at least that one. The Smoking Room is the other one that I rated 3 stars. I think just, it's also been a while. That one is just these two co-workers who are talking, I think, about potentially dating in the smoking room. I think that's basically what the story was. I remember not being super into it, but yeah, those are the graphic novels that I read. Now, let's look at the challenges that I had for the quarter, I have two challenges for myself. One is just to see how many of the books that I read. God, the lighting just shifted like hell. Jesus. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, whatever. One of them is my 5-star book draft. We'll get into that more in a second. The other one is just to see how many of the books that were on my TBR, how, like, of the books that I read, what percent of them were on my TBR. And this quarters, it was about 33% of the books, which is not bad, at all, especially when I did so much. I did a lot of beta reading. Some of it was not a great time. And then a lot of the rest of it was just Aimee's work. But yeah, we did a lot of reading, and I'm glad compared to me, and a lot of I'm good with this amount of it being from directly from my TBR. And next we have the 5-star book draft. My 5-star book draft is where I essentially like have a list of books that I think are going to be 5 stars, and then I read them and see if my predictions were correct. First quarter was not great. We did significantly better on this quarter. I added No One's Gonna Take Her Soul Away because had I known I would have gotten access to that book this year, I absolutely would have added to my book drafts. I was so extremely excited for that book when I heard just the concept of it. Don't know if for me it followed through on the concept. I think a lot of it is because of that I just was not into I really was not loving the character work there. But yeah, so we've got 2 5 stars and a 3 stars. Helped bring up my average just a little bit, because I think it was 2 to 2.5 stars last time, because we have a fucking DNF and fuck El Príncipe del Sol. Waste of my goddamn time. I'm still so mad about this book. It was just a bad book. It was just a bad, like, I'm mad. But yeah, so that's the 5-star book draft as well. And that is everything that we have here. That is all I have to say about my quarter. Again, I do think I want to do TBR and do some stuff with the TBR again, but we'll have to see. I'd be down to spend like 30 minutes to an hour right now, honestly, working on TBR. We might do that. I might pop over to the other channel and do a TBR real quick and like do some work on figuring out what my TBR might end up looking like. Well, I guess that's what I'm about to go to. So if you want to pop over, it's going to be on the No Ordinary Vlogs channel, where things are significantly less. I mean, things are super organized here, but it's significantly less organized over there. But yeah, that's everything for me. Remember, we've got my books, we've got Aimee's book, we've got donation links and non-Zionist graphic design programs all linked down below. Thank y'all so much for watching, and until next time, which could be now, valedictions, friends.